Hi and welcome to Outdoors with Richard, and thank you for joining me for this video. So today we're looking at the Hilleberg Soulo and also asking the question, should tall people buy this tent? Now, when it comes to pitching this tent, I'm not actually going to show you how to pitch this tent because Hilleberg have their own video on how to pitch this tent correctly. And it is by far the best and clearest instructional video on how to pitch this tent. So what I'll do is I will leave a link in the description below so you can go and have a look at how to pitch this tent correctly. So to start with, let's talk cost, let's talk color, and let's talk contents. So first of all, I purchased this tent here in the UK for £895. However, that does not include the footprint for this tent. If you want the footprint, it's going to cost you an extra £85. Now, when it comes to the color, this tent comes in a choice of 3 colors. I've gone for it in this really nice dark green, but you can also get it in a nice sand color, and you can also get it in a nice bright red. Now, when it comes to contents, let's have a look at what we get for our money. Now, when you purchase this tent, obviously you get your tent. Now, you do have the inner tent, which is already connected to the outer fly. You get 3 DAC 9mm poles, which are super light and they're also super strong. You get a repair pole. You get 12 V DAC pegs, and you also get a nice oversized storage bag. I love that the storage bag is oversized because getting stuff out is really easy, but at the end of a camp, especially when the weather's really bad, it makes getting all the stuff back in the storage bag so much easier. Now, when you put everything into the storage bag, the packed weight comes in at 2.4 kilograms. However, that doesn't include your footprint. If you add a footprint to your storage bag, it will add an extra 245 grams. When it comes to the first impressions of this tent, this is a really nice looking dome tent. Now, dome tents perform really well in the rain. You won't get any water pooling on the top of a dome tent. It will simply just run down the sides. Also, dome tents are great for snow loading. Looking at the design of this tent has also been designed to cope well in high winds. You have a wider side down this end, which is your head end, and then as we go around the other side, you will see the opposite side, which is the foot end, is smaller, and this side has been designed to face straight into the wind. Okay, now when it comes to the outer fabric of this tent, it is made from a Curlon 1200, which is a 30 denier high tenacity ripstop nylon. With the Curlon 1200, it also has a tear strength of 12 kilograms, so super strong. The hydrostatic head rating on the outer fly is 5,000 millimeters, so more than waterproof. And on top of that, the outer fly has been silicone coated 3 times, twice on the outside and once on the inside. This not only helps it with waterproofing, but also helps protect it against UV rays. Right, looking at the front entrance to this tent, obviously you have the zip down here, which I'm going to open now, but covering the zip, you can see you've got a really nice, well-made storm flap. Right, let's just open this tent up quickly. Now, when you've opened this tent, I'm not going to do it now. This side can be toggled up. However, let's have a look at the vestibule. Now, it's a decent size vestibule. At the widest point, it's 55 centimeters. So the room that this tent gives you in the vestibule is big enough not only to store stuff, but also there's more than enough room that you can cook inside the vestibule. When it comes to the internal fabric of this tent, it's made from a 30 denier ripstop nylon, and this goes all the way around the inside of the tent, so it really makes it a true 4-season tent. Now when it comes to the entrance of the inner tent, it has an upside down T entrance with 3 zips on it. I'll show you how to open them now. What I want to say though is, with regards to the zips, they are all anti-snag zips, so you shouldn't have any problems with the zips catching. They're also very well made and are super strong. So to open the internal, you just take the middle zip up and you take the one side, and then this side can be rolled right back and toggled up. You can also undo the other side and toggle that back, so you can have the entrance completely open. The other option you have, and I'm just going to show you now, if I get inside the tent, is if I just close this down here quickly like this, you have also got a really nice mesh window which you can gain access to, and then the inner material that drops down can be rolled up and toggled at the bottom. So having that little bit of mesh there on the one side is definitely going to help you with airflow. But as I say, this side can be toggled back. This side can also be completely unzipped and toggled back, or you could just have one side down and one side open, or you could have this side down and that side open. It's entirely up to you. Let's take a closer look at the inside of this tent. So starting with the bathtub floor. Now the bathtub floor is made from a 70 denier nylon. It has been triple coated with polyurethane. It is highly puncture and abrasion resistant, and it has a super impressive 15,000 millimeter hydrostatic head rating. Now when it comes to the size of the inner tent, the length comes in at 220 centimeters. The width at the head end here comes in at 73 centimeters. The width at the widest point here in the middle comes in at 105 centimeters, and then the width at the foot end comes in at 63 centimeters. Now the actual height of the tent from the ground all the way to the very top of this tent is 95 centimeters. Now also inside the tent you do get a couple of storage pockets, and then on the roof you get 4 nylon little loops which you can thread a line through to create like a little washing line, so you could hang some damp clothes from, or you could just simply clip your camping lamp to one of those nylon loops. Right, I'm going to sit inside this tent so you can get a better idea of how big the tent is inside. So I wanted to just sit inside this tent because obviously I want to talk about whether this tent is worth buying when you're a tall person. Now when it comes to the internal space of this tent, the length is more than big enough. At 220 centimeters, you're looking at just over 7 foot. So most people are going to be able to lie down even with one of the biggest mats, and you're going to have plenty of room. I've got to say the width each end and in the middle is more than enough room. I think the most important thing to talk about is the height, which is 95 centimeters. Now I am 6'2". I have a cap on, and I don't know if you can see properly, but my head is not touching the ceiling of this tent. If I measure it with my fingers, if I just put my head upright and then take it down, I've still got that above my head. Yeah, that much room above my head. Now, as I say, I'm 6'2". I can also confirm I've got a friend who's got this tent. He's 6'3", and his head does not touch the ceiling. I know someone 6'4" who has this tent and their head just touches the ceiling. Now this is really important, this point, because I've seen a couple of reviews where one person said that they were 5'7", and their head was touching the ceiling. That's simply not true. They either are not in a Hilleberg Soulo, or they've got the tent set up incorrectly, or they're a lot taller than they think they are. The other person, I think, in a review said that they were about 5'12", and they wouldn't want to be any higher than 6 foot when in this tent. Well, once again, you've got plenty of room for head height. So if you are up to, I would say, 6'3" and even a little bit more, you can sit up in this tent. I'm actually stretching my back right out, and I am not touching the ceiling of this tent. So definitely, if you are tall, as I said, up to at least 6'3", maybe just a bit taller, you could sit in this tent and your head will not touch the ceiling of this tent. And as I said earlier, with regards to length and width, there's ample room in here. I use one of the biggest pads you get. It's long, it's extra wide, and I fit in here no problems. So if you are tall and you are thinking about buying one of these tents, honestly, don't worry about the size, whether it's length, width, or most importantly, the height, because you will fit inside this tent. Right, I'm going to tell you a few more things that you need to know about this tent. So before I give you my final thoughts on this, the Hilleberg Soulo, there are a couple of things I want to talk about. First of all, ventilation. Super important to be able to get some air into this tent to help you keep cool, but secondly, it'll help with reducing any condensation you might get. Now, the first option you've got is you have a rain vent on the top, or top hat as some people call it. All you have to do is unclip this, take it back, and on the top of the front door you've got a little panel with 2 zips, which when you open up, this little bit of fabric will drop down, and by the way, this can be rolled up and toggled up, and that'll give you a nice bit of airflow into the tent. Now obviously, if it's a nice day, you can leave this top cover back open and just have this open, so it's going to give you a nice bit of airflow. However, if the day's not a great day and it's raining or even snowing, but you still want this open, you could then just leave that open and just simply clip this top cover back over. Your other option you've got is to undo your front door, roll this back, and then, as I showed you earlier, you've got a nice mesh window there, so a lot of air can come straight into your tent. Right, the next thing I want to talk about is this tent and how capable it is in bad weather. Now, this tent is more than capable in some pretty extreme weathers. This tent will cope in more bad weather than most people will actually go camping in. However, if you are going somewhere particularly bad, maybe the top of a mountain or something like that, you have got the option to double pole. So you could buy a second set of DAC 9mm poles, or you could simply upgrade to the DAC 10mm pole. You could also upgrade your ground pegs, so that would give you some extra peace of mind. Okay, let me now give you my personal thoughts on this, the Hilleberg Soulo. So when it comes to my final thoughts on this tent, I really like this tent. This is a well-made tent. It's definitely built to last. It's a true 4-season tent. It's quick and easy to pitch. It's freestanding. It's a nice looking tent. You know, as far as a one-person tent goes, this is a good sized tent, especially for tall people. You get your storage pockets, and you've got the option to run a line along the roof of this tent so you can hang some damp clothes or just to clip on a camping lamp. When it comes to the weight of this tent, it's not the lightest of tents, but it is really well made, and this tent is really going to protect you in some nasty weather. So for me, that's worth the extra weight. When it comes to ventilation, you've got your options for ventilation. It's not the best. You will get condensation, but to be honest, you're going to get condensation in most tents. So that's not really much of an issue for me. Now, when it comes to the price of this tent, especially when you factor in the footprint, it's not cheap. And for some people, it's going to be too expensive. They won't be able to justify spending that kind of money on this tent. Some people will simply say, well, I'm going to buy a different tent that can perform as well as this tent, but for half the price. So let me know how you feel about this tent. Do you like the tent? Do you think it's overpriced? Or would you rather spend your money on a different tent? But on that note, I'm going to say a massive thank you for watching this video. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button. If you're enjoying the channel, please hit the subscribe button. But until next time, take care, and I'll see you in the next video.